To buy Gillette, the best a man can get.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome into First Things First. I'm Jen Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter, and this is Nick Wright. It is Friday. We made it to the end of the week. We made it to week 2 of the preseason.
Yes, we did.
So we have a stacked show full of preseason goodness. A lot of football to get to. Aaron Rodgers is officially back. Sam Darnold may have hit pause, and Tom Brady is...
Who's ever out there, whether the last 3 weeks, you're just trying to get on the same page. You know, we're not doing a ton of game planning for these games, and it's just some trust, and, the prayer is mostly about us. But who's ever out there we got to go with, and I'm sure it'll be that way at different points in the season. New guys will come in and got to try to get them ready, and obviously all the reps we put in with, Julian, Hogs, Gronk, guys who have been here in the past are very helpful. But everyone's just trying to get up to speed, and we're trying to all do the right thing.
All right, Chris, you watched this game. What impressed you the most about Tom Brady last night?
Well, you can see that they made a conscious effort, Josh McDaniel, to be able to get the ball out of Tom's hand very, very quick. And also you could see from an offensive line standpoint, they threw a number of screens that you wouldn't see a team like New England, a veteran, a couple of jailbreak screens in case they get pressure. You could see them practicing on things that they think that they might need during the regular season. And also you could see Tom trying to fill out the other receivers and give them opportunities. You can see him spreading the ball around because, as he mentioned, there in the soundbite, yes, they haven't had that cohesiveness. They haven't had a lot of reps. But one thing I saw also in the telecast, or heard in the telecast, it was nice to get the New England feed, was that Tom has missed some time in practice that people hadn't reported. So not only we knew that Edelman was going to miss some time during the season, but they had kind of kept that under wraps, that he had a sore back. That's typically not something that we have seen from Tom. So that was it was very intriguing to be able to see the beginning of the game, because I thought the game plan was very, very aggressive. I don't know how much Tom's going to play the rest of the preseason, right, but they went into this game with a lot more emphasis on game planning. Let's get the ball around. Patterson, let's see if we can get him the ball and screen passes. Let's see, James White moved him out of the backfield early. That's a regular season thing. So I was impressed of how they attacked it. And also I could see that Tom might not play too much more the rest of the preseason.
It's interesting that Brady said, we're not game planning for these games. And I know you're not. But man, oh man, it looked like they had the perfect game plan against that Eagles front, against a team that is going to be aggressive, get after the quarterback. The Eagles potentially trying to take advantage of a young or banged up or new England offensive line. It became banged up during the game. We know the left tackle situation has been in flux. And the Patriots had the perfect antidote to that. It was jailbreak screen. It was regular screen. It was the misdirection screen. It was every type of screen you could see, they ran at super successful levels. Brady had, 170 yards passing on 19 completions, but not a whole lot of yards through the air. It wasn't deep passes downfield. It was a lot of yards after catch, them taking advantage of a very talented and very good Eagles front. But the thing that I had two enormous takeaways. One is this guy is simply unbelievable. That Tom Brady...
different than where you were a year ago at this very same moment.
100%. I always knew he was unbelievable, but I was waiting for age to do what it has done to every NFL player ever, and he still seems to be holding it off. I understand that Father Time, to use the cliche, is undefeated, but maybe it's going to be an old 100-round bare knuckles boxing match with Brady instead of a normal 15-round KO. So one is Brady's continues to be great, and the other is Cordarrelle Patterson, because he's an intriguing player for them. He's a guy that was a first-round pick for Minnesota. If you remember his rookie season, it looked like, this is going to be a quality first-round pick. He was an electric kick returner. As soon as he learns how to be a wide receiver, he's going to be the guy. And he never quite learned how to be the wide receiver. They used him not only on a touchdown, but on a long play. They got them inside the 3-yard line on a quick swing pass out to the left. And so I think he could be interesting for a team that needs speed.
So you and I were talking earlier this morning about that offensive line, and that it concerns you for Tom Brady's sake that he is going to obviously feel the pressure, and it's going to be a little bit harder for him in the early going of the season.
Yes, they're going to miss Nate Solder. I mean, when you can put a guy on Tom's backside, as much as they like to throw the ball and throw it quick, and how many different formations they do, you need veteran players to be able to do that, because Tom does a great job with the center, David Andrews, as far as changing protections. But you're limited. It's just like wide receivers. When you don't have guys with experience, you don't have the variety of the different protections, just like the different routes you have with the wide receivers. And that's what they're going to be fighting this year. We saw Isaiah Wynn, the rookie. He even got nicked in this game.
More than nicked. I mean, he's carted off. If people weren't watching it, he's carted off. So we don't know how serious it was, but it seemed substantial.
Nick Wright, you have to amputate. A football injury, that was a nick.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But you know, he struggled a little bit at left tackle. How do I know that? Because in the offseason and in the first couple weeks of training camp, he was going between left tackle and right tackle. Now, he didn't play in week number 1 in the preseason, played in week number 2, and played at right tackle. So it lets me know. Typically, you do not like to move a guy from left to right. And if he has to settle on one, you prefer him to settle at left because you know the type of player and type of athlete over there. When they made him settle on the right side, it makes me wonder, he must have some struggles on that left side. So that offensive line is what I'm going to watch. When they get Gronk and get Edelman back, they're going to be dangerous because they have Tom Brady. But you could see they're not going to be a dominant running team. They're going to throw the ball quick, and then do some play action, try to get the ball down the pump seams.
I mean, in Isaiah Wynn, people should know he's the guy they picked with the pick they got in the Brandon Cooks trade, pardon me. When they traded away Brandon Cooks, that extra first rounder is how they drafted Isaiah Wynn. They needed to upgrade defense, but they knew they had lost Nate Solder. They decided to take a guy they thought could help them right now, and he was a guard in college, but he profiled as a tackle in the pros, ideally a left tackle. You take a guy that high for a team that loses its left tackle, you hope he's there. And now we see him miss week 1, as CC mentioned, and then carted off from the sideline in week 2. One other note on a positive standpoint for the Patriots last night, absent of Brady. Their offseason acquisition, Adrian Claiborne. He's the one that came around and ended up injuring Nick Foles. He came around and the strip sack on him. The increased pressure up front, because we had mentioned yesterday, where did the Patriots get better offensively last year to this year? It's hard to find a room that the position group is better. Defensively, maybe that D-line, Derek Rivers coming back after injury, Adrian Claiborne being an increased role, maybe that is a place that they could be a little bit better than last year.
Why did Belichick play Tom Brady for a first half? Is there something he was looking for? Did they want to test out his back? Is he just, I mean, what is it?
I think it's a combination of things. Tom's missed a lot of time. Him and Belichick had agreed Tom wasn't going to be there in the offseason for the things that weren't mandatory. And also, you could hear in the local telecast with the Patriots broadcast team that Tom had missed time in the first week of camp because of a stiff back. Now, we don't know. Typically, week number 3 is the stage week for NFL games. They like to play their starters, like to play them typically through the first half and start the third quarter. They might have moved that to week number 2 because of the way the offseason has gone with Tom. Last night was not the typical preseason game for the New England Patriots. You can see the intensity on their face from the time they ran on the field with Tom running on with the typical without his helmet and his little buddy Edelman. He came out firing and everything. So I thought they put a little more emphasis on this game than they normally would.
I hesitate to ask you this because I think I know the answer, but I feel like the audience is asking it, so I'll take the bullet. Anything of that extra intensity, the Brady playing longer, has to do with the opponent, that this is the team that beat them in the Super Bowl?
No, I just think it's the sequence for which training camp has gone. They've had a couple injuries, and week number 2 or 3 is going to be those weeks. Belichick decided to go in week number 2. No, but they were moving at a different speed than the Philadelphia Eagles were.
And we should mention all that chirping by Lane Johnson, and we didn't see anything really between Lane Johnson and these two teams as far as tension, if you will, on the field. All right, we'll talk more about this. Eric Mangini will join us. But on the other side, how will Nick Foles' injury impact Carson Wentz? That's next. This is First Things First.